ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the first episode of the Stuck In podcast in 2023, and I'm very happy to have a guest I've been wanting to get on for a long time, somebody who's definitely at the top of my list, Young Lions captain, going into his 6th season in the SPL, under 23 National Team captain, senior team player, and stalwart for the Young Lions team, Jacob Mahler, a good friend. How are you, brother?
I'm doing good. Appreciating you coming on here, letting me have the opportunity to get on this wonderful podcast. I can't wait to talk about everything.
The pleasure's mine, I've been hunting this guy down for a while to get him on the podcast, but first and foremost, let's talk about your recovery. People are probably interested how you've been. You've sort of gone under the radar a bit for the last 9 months, dealing with your rehab and everything. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Now, obviously, last year was a pretty tough year for myself. I think, going into the year, I had a lot of goals. I was finishing my NS and I had set targets for myself. And of course, there was the big SEA Games and of course the Asian Games, which was postponed, in a blessing for me in a sense, since I would have missed it as well. But obviously, it started off with the AFF and all that. And then we slowly came back and then had a few games, and just right before the SEA Games, unfortunately, got the worst possible injury I could ever get in my football career.
Man, it was tough. I mean, obviously it's tough for you, but as teammates, you were right in front of me when it happened, and I honestly, the emotions, for all of us, let alone you, was crazy.
Yeah, it was obviously a tough thing, and obviously tearing your ACL is never the easiest thing, and of course, the first I had to accept the injury. Of course, it was tough to deal with, especially with how close it was to SEA Games. It's just basically, I think it was the last game before the SEA Games tournament. So obviously it was a little tough to accept. But once I got over it, I just had to focus on my recovery, which of course would take a while. 8-9 months, which I'm finally at the end of it. It was a long journey, but I felt like it was really rewarding. I learned a lot about myself throughout the journey. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of hours spent in the gym every day, back and forth. You could say it got really repetitive, and there were times where you could feel a little demoralized because you're basically doing the same thing over and over. But I guess throughout the journey, you have all your friends around you. The physio, Kat Fiza, who played such an important part in my recovery. I owe a lot to her, and of course my family, who was there the whole journey as well.
No, I definitely want to touch on that, how important that support system was for you throughout all those months, because it's not easy to do with that support staff, with that crew around you, let alone to be doing it day in, day out. Yeah.
Of course. It got lonely sometimes, of course, being in sometimes the gym by myself. You looked in the mirror in the JBS gym and you'd be like, damn, you wish you were on the field playing instead of having to go through this process where you have to spend such a long period of time away from the field, because that's never what an athlete or a footballer wants to do. He wants to be week in, week out, playing games, helping the team. And of course it was tough seeing the team go through whatever it went through. That's the reality. The team went through that, and I won't say always because I was missing. Of course I would have loved to help the team.
As somebody who's on the other side playing, how much we would have loved to have you on the pitch next to us, fighting with us every week, right? It makes a big difference. The leadership, the charisma, the confidence that you bring to the boys. Because with me, if I know you're playing behind me, that's an extra, I don't know how many % of confidence in the team that we can get a result, whatever it is.
I understand, but it was tough. It was a tough journey, but like I said,
you're at the end, right? You're
the light is at the
end of the tunnel.
I felt like I've come out a better person out of it. I felt like I understand my body more. I feel like I'm more determined now, and I'm more aware also about my body more, because now I think through the injury you start realizing, there's so many things I could be doing off the field to prevent this from happening. Of course I was doing my NS, so it could have been fatigue or whatever, but there's so many things I could do to injury prevention, my own,
each small thing adds up, to the overall package to make sure.
I feel like now I'm more professional, and I felt like this 9 months I've built on myself. I've grown a lot, and I'm ready. I'm raring to go this season, and I'm hoping for a good 2023.
So, right, speaking of a good 2023, let's talk a little bit about the season that's starting this weekend in a few days.
Yeah.
Talk to me. How excited are you to go into another year in the SPL? Obviously, your ambition would have been to go overseas. I think that's no secret if you hadn't gotten injured.
Yeah.
But now with everything you've learned in the past 9 to 12 months, you know, everything that you've gone through, what sort of fresh perspective do you have going into this year and like your goals and just things you want to achieve, you know?
No, of course, I'm really excited, you know. I mean, I've been waiting 9 months for this opportunity. You know, I've been eagerly sitting on the side, working hard in the gym, you know.
I mean, I can see it, you know, whenever I see you in the gym, when you start training again, like the itch that you have, it's like, it's infectious, you know?
Of course. I was pushing the physios to release me earlier, you know, all this type of stuff. Of course, I know they're protective over me because they don't want me to have the same injury. That's the worst outcome. But, you know, I'm always eager to get on the field, you know. I feel I want to showcase my talent. I feel like this year for me, it's something like...
Would you say you have a chip on your shoulder? Like something you want to prove to people?
No, of course I do. I have a lot of things I want to prove this year. I think I want to show that, you know, I'm still the Jacob Mahler I am. You know, I'm still the player I am, you know, even though I went through this injury. You know, obviously an ACL is... It's a big injury, you know. My knee is like, it's a new thing. Like, you know, I'm still getting used to it. But I want to push myself to my limits. I want to do well. You know, I want to prove to people that, you know, that... Of course, you know, okay, I might be injured for 9 months, but, you know, I'm back and I'm ready to do whatever it takes to be at the top. Because I think that my goal, like you said, you know, my goal is to go overseas. You know, like I've said many times, like playing in Singapore, yes, I enjoy it, I love it. You know, it's my city and all that, but I want to get out my comfort zone.
Of course.
I want to test my limits and I want to play in leagues that will challenge me, you know, and will make me a better player. I think that's my ultimate goal at the end of the day.
100%. I think, like, I get that vibe. All of us, you know, we're a very tight-knit group, you know, the guys in Young Lions and even guys like Ilhan, Iksan, etc. Like, we all want to push each other and see how far we can go, right? Because at the end of the day, if we don't do it, who is, right? We have to push ourselves and push each other. But going back a little bit, you talked about your family and the support. How important have they been? Because, like we said, like, I mean, I know personally how important your parents are firstly to you, and then obviously you have your friends that you've come up with all the way, you know, guys like Joel, who you've played with since you were like as young as you can remember, you know, even more recently guys like No Cap, you know, Ricky was on previously, shout out Ricky, and hopefully, you know, we have the other guys on at some point, Saul especially.
He's got a lot of shit to say.
Exactly, but there you go. It's like how important are these people to you in your life and everything that you have achieved so far and everything you want to achieve going forward?
I mean, just to begin with my parents, my family, you know. They're such
kind of emotional there, man.
My throat, hold up.
I feel you.
Nah, so, you know, they honestly, without, like, my parents, I feel I wouldn't be in my position I am today. Like, the sacrifice they've put in for me, just because obviously I'm the only child, so, you know, a lot of attention and focus is on me. But
it's good and bad, I can imagine,
I guess, but, you know, the dedication, the sacrifices they've done since a young age. I mean, since obviously I started my football since 7. They have been there, I think, every session since I was 7 years old when I started off in JSSL, and then I went to NFA and then Young Lions. There's never been a session where I don't have at least one of my parents there. You know, like
that's some serious commitment.
Like, I don't think, based on my where I can recall, you know, I don't think there's been a session. I mean, my mom travels here and there, but my dad has always been there since I was from. When I joined NFA when I was 13 till 19, he sent me back and forth from training every day until I got my license, obviously. So, like, you know, like the things he does for me, he cooks for me at home. My mom, she just takes care of me, like, you know,
It's just the parental stuff that everybody, you know, everybody takes for granted sometimes, you know.
No, of course, I feel like so many of us, like, you know, I think in this generation we don't understand how important our family is, our parents is, because what they've done for us is it's crazy. It's really crazy because
it's all the small details, like you said, like sending you to training, sending you back, cooking, like they're all the small things, right? But they all add up, you know, the extra hours of rest, the comfort, you know. I went on a walk with my mom last night and we were talking about this, and we're like, I mentioned to her, like, sometimes how, like, her just being there when I come home at night makes such a big difference, because it's just like
that presence, you know.
Even if I don't want to tell her about what went on that day, maybe, but like just her being there, like, sort of puts me at ease. And, you know, it's just like the comfort of like your parents being there, watching your games. Like my dad knows a little bit. My mom doesn't really know anything about football. But it's like,
I mean, through the years of watching, she understands a little bit, but she thinks she knows a lot.
Yeah, no, 100%. She'll tell me, why don't you shoot the ball more? Or why don't you stop passing? It's like,
she thinks she knows so much about football. Like,
but it shows that they care.
No,
like,
of course.
That's the affection I feel.
Yeah. Deep down in my heart, like, I think just, you know, having them in the stands every time for my games as well, like, I think I've heard my parents here and there, especially my mom, this little small, I said it a lot of times, small little Asian lady shouting, screaming from the side. Like, it's a really nice feeling,
of course.
I think at the end of the day, like, for me now at least, I want to do everything I can. Of course, it's for myself, but I want to make them proud. I think in my football career so far, whatever I've achieved, of course, it's not something fantastic, but I do it for them. At the end of the day, like, of course I do it for myself, but I want to make them proud. And I think, and I hope I have, and I'll continue to strive towards excelling and doing my best and hoping for as long as possible, they can see me to just grow into this footballer that I hope I can make my parents proud of. So
that's very sweet, and I'm sure your parents are already proud. If they're watching, shout out to Jacob's parents.
I'll probably have to show this now. They're good on the good side.
Exactly. No, but 100%. Like you talk about how important your parents are and how much you want to make them proud because of how much they've invested, right? But then let's shift a little bit and talk about your friends, because most recently, Iksan and Ilhan, and even a little bit previous to that, like Zikos, all of these guys have gone through serious injuries, and you sort of beat them to the punch in the sense that you got it a little bit earlier. So you had a head start in that recovery process. What's it been like for you, almost seeing them get injured, and how have you tried to support them, and what has that changed your mindset in any sense, like reflecting on your own injury and what it must have been like for your friends?
I mean, I've seen Zikos, I've seen Ix, I've seen Ilhan in the gym, because I'm basically in the gym almost every other day at least, and I see them there as well, and like it's tough, after going through the 9 months, you never wish it upon anyone. Like,
of course. Not even your worst enemy.
Yeah, exactly. It's honestly the worst 9 months of your life, basically. So, seeing them starting from scratch, it's painful. It's like, damn. Like, you reflect that, damn, I was there 8 months ago, just out of surgery, not being able to walk. I was there to pick up Ix from his surgery, and even Ilhan. So, like, it gave me flashbacks, and it gives me like, okay, now I'm at this stage of my rehab, or after my injury, I'm really grateful for it, and I should not take this for granted. Like, I'm back, but it doesn't mean I stop. You know what I mean? Like, it's
the injury prevention doesn't stop.
Exactly.
All the small details that you're doing,
all the hard work I've been putting in, I do not want it to go to waste, because, like, for Zikos, like, he retore his ACL. It's a thing that can happen. And I have to accept the reality of that, and it's something I don't want to happen, because having to go through that process all over again, I already know how it feels.
But it doesn't get easier.
Exactly.
At least from what I've heard from Bill.
Exactly. So, I mean, at least for now, I'm trying my best to motivate them and tell them, like, certain stuff that I did that helped me a lot. Of course, everyone has their own, I think, versions. Everyone's different. Everyone heals different, I think. So but I mean, they were so crucial in my rehab. I think Ilhan helped me a lot. He always motivated me. And I think everyone around me, all my friends, really played a big part. Like, when I told them about my small wins, about my biodex testing, and all, me slowly getting back onto the pitch to run, they were all so happy for me, excited for me. And
I think even the stuff like you put on social media, when people saw you back on the pitch, you finally being able to squat, or finally able to jump, or finally able to run, like, all these small milestones, like, I think the people closest to you realize how much of a win that is, because the progression is crazy.
Exactly, because you're not going to see big progression all the time. All this small stuff matters so much, and it gives you motivation to continue working. Once you see, I can finally do a full squat, like, damn, I'm so happy. Like, I'm progressing. It shows that I'm going in the right direction, which is a big jump of confidence for you. So I think, like, with Ilhan now, because Ilhan and I had basically the same injury, I've seen he's working so hard, and I'm, so proud of him, because I know how tough it is. And, like,
because it's so easy to just be like, you know what, today I don't feel like it. I just want to feel bad about myself and just put yourself in that. I can imagine, because I've never obviously had an injury as serious, and hopefully I don't, but it's like, being injured is the worst possible thing in the world.
Of course, exactly.
Being stuck on the side for a week, 2 weeks is misery. For what you guys have gone through and what they are going through now, it's ridiculous. Like, how long it is, and like, they just have to accept it. There's nothing you can control.
Especially for Ilhan, who had such a big move lined up for him as well. So it was so exciting. But, God has other plans, and you got to use this time to work on yourself. And maybe it was a blessing in disguise. You can come back strong and all that. So
hopefully they do. I know they will. They're working hard, and they'll be back in no time. But let's talk a little bit about last year before we talk a little bit more about this season. Because like you said, you were on the sides, you were watching. and even your parents were there and watching, which was crazy. I mean, I always remember seeing them in the stands. I was like, wow, like their son's not even playing, but the support they have is still amazing. So, what was that like for you as a captain, as a friend to all of us, as a teammate, all these things, being on the side, you know, because that's the longest like you've ever been out, like you said. And how painful was that for you to endure? Obviously, we all know it was a really, really tough season, but for you, like, what did you take away from that as well, and just how was it? Just describe it.
I mean, of course, to begin with, you know, going up to such a big tournament like SEA Games, you know, I never wanted to miss such a tournament. I mean, leading the country,
it's a milestone, right?
Leading the country in such a big tournament, prestigious tournament, would have been an amazing feeling and an amazing achievement for me. But of course, watching every game back at home, I wish I could do more. I wish I could. Obviously, you always like say, damn, if I didn't do this, if I didn't tell my ACL, I'll be like, you know, of course, but like so many ifs and whats and all that type of stuff. So obviously, as the months went by, you know, seeing the team and how it went and all that, it was really, like you said, it was painful. You know, it was tough to just sit there and like feel like useless, you know, in a sense, like you feel like
you couldn't affect anything.
Like, you know, being the captain as well, like you said, like I want to always, when I say this, captain, I don't need to say so much on the field. I feel like I want to lead by example. Before I say anything, I need to lead by example.
No, we had this discussion not too long ago, like, you coming back from your injury, you want to show that you're that same person.
Yeah,
exactly. Do all the same thing before you start talking
more and all that type of stuff. I want to, like, in a sense, like back my talk up, and I want to, and I want to gather them, like rally them first with how I play. You know, I feel that's the number one thing I always do. I want to show that I'm playing with my heart, and then I can inspire them to do the same and demand them to do the same as well.
100%, I can see that every time you step on the pitch.
So obviously it was tough, you know, sitting on the sidelines. You know, like, you know, the team went through what it went through. You know, obviously there were things that happened throughout the season. Players were lost and all that, and I mean, it was no excuse for the performances. I think we all know as a collective it was below par, and we it's not something where we want to happen again this season. You know, like I think we all as a team know that we need to be much better, and we need to demand from each other. And I think
the accountability is something that was lacking, at least like, from what I felt within the dressing room.
Always. I think that's something, especially with us being younger. You know, obviously we're not mature yet enough, but we need to take responsibility for our performances. You know, when it's not up to par, it's not up to par, and
that's what professionals have to do, right?
And we need to demand from ourselves. Of course, there'll be bad games, but it cannot happen week in, week out. You know, we know, and then we must go back to the drawing block, and a lot of reflection must be done. It's
not the same mistakes every week. That can't happen.
Exactly, and I think that's something we need to do a lot more. We need to reflect on ourselves. You know, like after a game, I would always go home and.
No, for me, I can't sleep until I watch back the game. And the thing is, it'll be, don't care what time it is, 3, 4 a.m. I'll still be watching the game.
I mean, the adrenaline is in your body as well, so you know it's difficult to sleep at times.
And the worst is like if you know you made a mistake, and then you sit there and you have to watch
it's the worst feeling. But sometimes you have to take it. You know,
if you're not able to face your own mistake, you'll never learn from it.
Exactly. So I think we all know that last season was not acceptable, and I mean, of course, it could be done to various reasons. You know,
obviously, we can always put excuses forward, right?
Yeah, but
at the end of the day, we know. You
know, like that. Okay, there were 11 players on the field, and it was just not good enough. So this season, I think all of us are raring to go, and I think we will definitely put up a better showing, and I'm looking forward to it. So
on the more positive note, Junin Khan, you've been at Young Lions now. This is your 6th season. What is it like, you know, having that added bit of quality? What's it like having foreigners? Obviously, you've played with senior national team guys, right? And we'll talk a little bit about your experiences with the senior team. But for the most part, Young Lions has always been guys your age, younger, maybe a little bit older. What is it like? You know, completely new language. Obviously, you've dealt with guys that aren't Singaporean before, but on a daily basis, training, playing. What's it been like for you?
It's been enjoyable, and I think Khan and Jun, you know, these two guys are really nice people. You know, like I think they know the situation, I think, and but they understand, and that's the most important thing. They're
know not coming in with like,
I mean, of course, they're not 28, like 30 something. They're also very young. They're 24.
I think that they can resonate with us, right?
Exactly. And I think we all click very well with them. I think they have such an amazing personality, and I think they both want to work hard and they want to do well as well. I think they have their own goals as well. And I think they've added, like you said, some quality to the team, and I think it's something that, of course, you could say like, adding a foreigner, like, it leaves a slot for like a local guy not to do. But like I said to you the other day, like, you know, like, you not you being able to play with these players will only make you a better player. And then when you have to sit on the bench, as bad as it sounds for someone, that makes you more motivated to work hard and to prove yourself in training.
I think sometimes at Young Lions we fall into like a bit of a comfortable state, right?
Yeah, exactly. We can.
If you're a more senior player, you're almost expected to get the starts in the minutes and stuff like that.
You have to work hard. And I feel that's something that we need to do. We need to really work hard to get into that starting 11. And I think with Coach Philip and him bringing the numbers we have this year, I think it's really good. It gives everyone
healthy competition, right?
Yeah, it's always. You gotta like compete with your peers to get into that starting 11. Everyone wants to. Yeah. To want to have that start.
Everyone wants to. Yeah,
exactly. No one needs to be satisfied with just sitting on the bench earning your money. You know what I mean? Like we want to be week in, week out, starting.
Everyone has the ambition of breaking through to under 23 senior team,
getting into the SEA Games squad as well this year with the SEA Games. I think everyone needs to have that ambition that they want to do well. They want to prove to the coaches out there. Even from that for the long run, for a contract once they're done with Young Lions. Of course, Young Lions is just a phase.
Everyone knows it's a step. Yeah, it's a step up to something
exactly.
bigger.
It's an opportunity for you to show yourself because, of course, when you go to a club outside, it's likely going to be a lot more difficult to get a start unless you are,
obviously a top player. But exactly, Young Lions is the time to show that you're a top player.
Exactly, and I feel like if you can show yourself in Young Lions, you can definitely show yourself in any other club.
No, we had that discussion last year as well. It's like if you perform at Young Lions, which is arguably the toughest team to perform at,
you can definitely perform at. You can walk into any team and you can
play with better players with a different system, more professional maybe.
Exactly, you can learn from them as well. So it's really good. So
I mean, you and June at the back. I mean,
I'm looking forward.
Strikers in the SPL, watch out! You're not gonna.
Hopefully everything goes well. I don't want to sound too ahead of myself, but I'm really looking forward to the season, to working with June. He's a really good player, and I think
he's captain of a title-winning side, right?
Exactly,
and even Khan as well.
Khan, even like the likes of like Raul and I think like Ilhan Noor and Andrew and Harif, like working with them at the back. I think I'm looking forward to. They also add a lot of quality. I think Raul is maturing a lot, and I'm really happy with his progress.
I'm sure for you to see like guys like Raul, for example, you first started training with him when he was 16, 15, 15.
No, he's grown tremendously, and I'm so proud of him. And like I think he's put in so much effort, and I can see like he has so much talent. And I tell him week in, week out that.
I can see how hard you are on him because
everything is at your feet now. Like you have everything. You are starting almost week in, week out for Young Lions, and you're 18, 17. You have the world at your feet. You need to stay humble. You need to stay rooted to what you are. Do the basics. Do everything. Work hard, and you have your career ahead of you.
I mean, we talk about this all the time. Sometimes I look at the guys in Young Lions, like their age, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, there's stuff
at my age, like 2 or 3 years ago, whatever it was, like I was nowhere even near the level of talent and things like that. But you just hope that. They keep their head down, like you said.
No, of course,
and I think that's what we can try and impart.
Exactly, I think as being the captain as well, like I try my best to give good influence. Like small practices, like coming to the gym and like eating right and resting enough and all this type of stuff. That
like we know 17-year-olds, it's tough for them.
No, of course,
we were there with them as well.
You're not really mature yet, and like
when you're in this professional football environment, you can't really be the same. Exactly. You can't go out with your friends. You can't do that sort of stuff, right?
No,
if you want to succeed, at least,
Yeah, of course. And as well as being with Young Lions, your majority of players, you're the same age as you. So all of you guys are basically the same. So being a little older than all of them, I've been in the position they have been. So I try to still call it. I'm not trying to sound like some old grandpa.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe relative to Young Lions, honestly,
like try to inflict some good practices or good knowledge to help them become the best version of themselves in footballers. And I think Coach Philip is also trying to do that. I think he's really good at that. Yeah. He's really good at educating the players, and
he knows that Young Lions is not just for making us better footballers, but better people. I think that's something he really emphasizes on, and I love that.
Exactly, and it's just and hopefully it will impact them in the long run. You just hope to see that they will break through into the national team, and I'm sure a lot of them will. So it'll be good.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the national team.
Yeah,
you are the only player this year in Young Lions to have played for the national
team.
As for now. Hopefully more of us will make the jump up. But let's talk a little bit about that, because you got your start early.
Yeah, it was it was 2018.
2018, that's
correct.
5 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. It's crazy.
And even for me, when I was obviously doing research and stuff like that, I was like, wow, like because I mean we've talked about this before. It's been a while and it's been very sporadic. Your opportunities with the national team for one reason or another.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Is that how frustrating is that for you?
No, of course.
Started so hot, scoring your debut.
No, second game.
Oh, second game. Sorry.
I think so.
The second game.
Second game.
And your most recent appearance was December 2021.
Yeah, when I went to the Dubai trip with the national team, obviously. But of course, it's been frustrating. No, I wouldn't say it's been frustrating. Of course, I still have my opportunities with the under-23 teams with the SEA Games and
just timing. It was very, very much
there's
a timing
just a lot of
right?
timing things. Like I think that 2019 year was where we had the
SEA Games as well.
AFC, where we went to Mongolia. The one where we drew Hong Kong, drew North Korea, beat Mongolia, which was an amazing tournament. We had the Malayan Cup. I think that year was under-23 mainly focused.
It's almost similar to this year for the
exactly.
under-23.
You know what I mean? There was like everything
packed.
was under-23. There was no real time for the national team, which I was willing to sacrifice because we were preparing for SEA Games, and we had arguably one of the strongest sides there. And I feel like with Irfan, Lionel, Iksan, Poom, all these big names there.
Yeah.
So obviously it was a big tournament, and we had already come off such a hot tournament after the AFC under-23 where we almost qualified, and we did I think the best performance ever for a Singapore team. So unbeaten as well. So all the focus was there, and obviously 2020 I enlisted. So there was really no
COVID
time.
As well,
COVID, everything. Boom! I spent the whole year. I missed the World Cup qualifiers because I was in NSBMT and all that.
It
was in June.
Saudi, right?
Saudi, correct. And I missed that, and then obviously I got called up for the AFF. And I went to Dubai training camp, and of course I was supposed to go for the tournament as well, but I decided to pull out because of my NS, because I did not want an extension on my service. I wanted to get over and done with my NS over, and I also wanted to save my leave for the SEA Games, which unfortunately didn't really plan out very well. But you live and you learn. But like you said, timing has been frustrating. Of course, I wish I could rack as many caps as I can, but I understand the situation I'm in, and that's why this year I wanna do well. I wanna impress the coaches, and hopefully I can get myself back into the national team and show myself and prove myself there as well, because at the end of the day I think for any footballer playing for the national team is the biggest platform
goal,
is the ultimate goal. And this year obviously I think for the national team it's not such a big year, but I guess we're
World Cup qualifiers is the only big one.
I think so. I think there's more to the end of the year, so now it's only more friendlies. So of course we
plenty
just
of opportunities to
show myself and just prove myself. So
now that you're too old for under-23 football as well.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I wish I could play in the SEA Games, but unfortunately I'm a little too old, just by a year, unfortunately. But I'm just looking forward to this year, and I just want to really do well, and I have goals for myself. I set standards for myself. I hold myself to a really high standard, and I want to hit that every day in training, and as well as that in games, and show myself. So yeah. But like you said, I started young in the national team, and it was a blessing. I really appreciate it, and I'm really grateful for everything. So yeah.
I mean, Coach Fandi, you've always spoken very, very highly about him, how he influenced not just you at the national team, but also you at Young Lions and stuff like that. Because you did start out as a midfielder. Let's delve into that history a bit. How did you go from defensive midfielder, almost like a box to box, and now you've shifted into what looks like as comfortable as you've ever been on the pitch at centre half? Like, what's that transition in positions been like?
Obviously, when I first joined Young Lions from NFA under 18, I think it was the way that it happened. It was a blessing in disguise, because I obviously started with the NFA side, and
as most guys do. And
there was a tournament in Brunei, and I think Coach Fandi came to one of our games in the under 18 league. He saw me. He liked the way I played. I trained with Young Lions, and they were supposed to go to Brunei for a tournament. I think one of the players got injured or pulled out.
This is for Young Lions?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but this is for the Singapore. I think it was under 21 or under 23. I don't know.
Okay.
At that point in time, and I was 18. So he was like, "Can you make it?" And I was like, "Damn, I don't know," because obviously I was in poly, and
in school, of course.
Like it's difficult just to take sudden leave.
Yeah.
So I was I was just like, "Damn, this is the perfect opportunity." So called out my teachers. I did it, and I managed to get on the trip. I started. I think we played 3 games. I think 3 or 4 games, and I started every game.
Okay.
And even in that tournament, there was once where Irfan got a red card against Cambodia, and I moved to centre back. And Coach Fandi saw that.
And at that point you never.
I
really
never played center back. Wow, so
okay.
and
Even
I did.
Though you had like the physical quality.
Obviously, I started number 6 for all the games, but then due to that game, I think. Yeah, Irfan got a red card, and I just slot back into center back because obviously in this number 6, it's just easy just to slot back in, you know. And I did all right, but still, obviously, I was still number 6. But then we came back. I signed for Young Lions. Then officially after the tournament, I did pretty well, and then I got injured. I tore my ATFL, my ankle, so I was out for 2 months.
Okay.
And then I came back, and then there were games where I think Irfan went overseas for trials.
Okay.
So
needed a centre back.
I slot in. I played centre back for 2, 4, 5 games or something like that. I don't know.
He comes back.
I went back to number 6.
Okay.
So I always still had that.
You had a bit of both.
Had a bit of both that season at least. So I was really confident.
2019.
This was 2019.
Okay,
correct.
2019,
so I mean, I was just. I know I had both. So I felt good, and yeah. I mean, I guess that just added like an added.
It's like an added weapon to your arsenal.
My arsenal, you know. I like coaches like that, you know, that you can play both positions, versatility, like you said. And yeah, and then 2020 came around. I think Coach Nazri was the coach, and we were lacking centre backs, and he just, for that whole season, I played centre back, and I think that was the COVID year as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just slotted back into centre back, and ever since then, like, yeah, I've been a centre back, and I mean, I don't mind it. I enjoy it because I feel like, you know, playing centre back, I can lead there, and I like to analyze the game and read the game really well. And yeah, like I really enjoy it. And
would you say that door is closed then on being a number 6? Or?
No, I mean, I always don't mind slotting into the number 6. I mean, obviously it's very different from being a centre back. You know, a lot more running, a lot more, you know, high work rates and all that type of stuff. But I feel like if ever needed, I still have the experience, and I still understand. I think I still understand the position, and I know how to play it. And
when you have that understanding of the game,
exactly,
right?
exactly. Like you should be able to play any position, you know, at the end of the day. So I mean, I play striker, so.
In training, watch out. Jacob Mahler linking up with the strikers as a number 10, cheeky number 10.
No, but I mean, of course, it's fun, but I think at the end of the day, like, for me, I think my strength now, at least, it's playing at the back, and
so I love your ball playing ability, like you said, like, I think when players transition from midfield to centre back, especially, they have that ball playing ability that maybe guys who played centre back their entire youth career wouldn't have necessarily. So it's a big plus.
So now, yeah, I really enjoy playing centre back now, and I was even talking to my mom about it. She's like, so which position do you rather play? I'm like, honestly, at this point of my career, I think centre back, because I think at some point you also want to focus on one position. Yeah,
right? You don't want the other one lurking in the back of your head. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like wherever the coach wants me to play,
it's for the team, right? For the team, exactly.
I don't mind. So yeah.
Well, that's nice to hear. But no, I mean, for me, like playing alongside you, I guess as a center back, like I mentioned, the technical ability, but also like your dominance in the air, etc. Like this sort of stuff is like massive tools that no one else will really have, I guess.
No, of course, I get that. But it's good. I guess I get that added ability, and I'm, like you said, tall, and I got the little aerial presence. So
a little aerial presence, just underplaying it a little bit, but
yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, we talked a little bit also about, like we mentioned Coach Fandi, but also what about your ambitions to go overseas and how you sort of want to progress? Like, is there any place in mind specifically? What, like, are you looking at Southeast Asia? Are you looking at Europe? Like, what's the how do you view your football career? What do you want to achieve out of your career?
No, of course, I think for any football, at least in Asia, and I mean Singapore, of course. You obviously have your Southeast Asian countries, like you get Thailand, Malaysia, and all this type of stuff. You know, of course, that would be the easiest progression to go next. You know, but of course, I think for me,
you have friends who's done both, or doing both.
Exactly, and I see Iksan, who I followed his career a lot. Obviously, you know, like I've been his best friend for 5 years or so since that Brunei tournament. We really clicked off since I was 18, so almost 5 years now, coming to 5 years. So like we really clicked off in that tournament. I've seen him grow tremendously, going to Europe, and now he's in Thailand, and I know the difficulties he had to go through in Europe, and I think it's made him the player he is today. You know how dominant he is in the air, his maturity.
It's a different style of game, right,
exactly. I think it's molded him into the player he is. He, in my opinion, is one of the best ASEAN strikers.
Yeah. He was ranked in the top 50 Asian players, right? Someone gave him a vote.
Exactly.
As second best.
So like, in my opinion,
we laugh, but the thing is, somebody genuinely rates him that highly, which is amazing. Yeah,
amazing. No, when I saw that, I was like, wow, okay, I see you. Like, he's human son number one and all that. Like, it's compared to the likes of them. So now it's good for him.
The levels, that's the levels.
But now, like, I've seen his career and how it planned out and how much hardships he had to go through in Europe, and I think it's molded him to the player he is today. And I would love, of course, I think as any local player would say, I would love to go to Europe. Of course, opportunities are very limited. It's not the easiest thing. But of course, if some way, somehow there is an opportunity for me to go to Europe, just like how Ilhan is now taking that leap, like, I would love to, and I think it would make me a better player, because obviously the style from Asia and Europe is completely two different things. And I think
physicality, especially as a center half, like I know you touched on when we played Korea 2 years ago, 1.5 years. Like, their physicality is a level above ours. But you can imagine, like,
exactly,
for lack of a better word, big Brexit strikers, right? Like, the type of football that they play would be very, very demanding physically.
No, of course, and I think you will learn a lot and you'll grow a lot. And of course, if an opportunity comes to go to Europe, I would love to, and I think it will make me a better player. And of course, I would love to go to Europe first, and then go to ASEAN or Asia, wherever it is, the J League, the K League. But at least maybe for now, hopefully, maybe in the next year or so, whenever it's possible, I can go to Thailand, and because Thailand, the Thai league is also a very high level.
Of course. It's only getting better and better.
Yeah, exactly, with the system and all that, and how they invest in their stadiums and all that. You can see, it would be a good platform for me to take my next step to. But if I can progress further than that, I would love to. I think you just need to see, like as I said, this season is very important. It's where I show myself coming back, and I need to show that I'm still the player I am, or if not, I'm even better. So
of course.
I think with game time and everything, I can garner attention, and it can only be good things for me. So hopefully everything falls into place, and I can take that step up, and going overseas, wherever it may be, I know it will be the right step and for me to improve and become a better player. So
it sounds like you're very much focused on the improving and testing yourself at the highest level, and sort of just pushing yourself to the max, which is what everyone wants to hear. Right?
Exactly.
Nobody wants a player that's comfortable.
No, of course.
And you push the boundaries, but like you touched on earlier, now that you've finished NS, right? You have all this.
Exactly.
You have the time to go and do this. Talk to me about what your NX experience was like. For those who don't know, it's very challenging to juggle both.
No, of course.
Now the transition to being a full-time professional, what's it been like for you? Because Jordan most recently ORD'd as well. So
congratulations.
Congratulations, brother. Get better soon. But what's it been like for you personally? What's that transition been like?
Of course, being in NS and doing football is the most challenging. Of course, I was really grateful I had the opportunity to, because there were some players that never got the opportunity that I had because of whatever circumstances.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Or whatever posting, whatever you had. But I'm really grateful for whatever I got. But of course, it's not easy. You wake up at 6, 7 in the morning. You do your whatever stuff you have to do. Obviously, I was a little storm man, but
everyone has different jobs.
Different jobs, and there was other guys like yourself. I think you guys were doing like outfield and all this type of stuff that was crazy. So you do your job from 6 to 6 or 7 to 6 or whatever timing, and then you go for training. Thankfully my side of the camp let me drive in and drive out, because I was in an active unit. Obviously, I needed to stay in camp. So
I think everybody's units have to be. You need a different level of support. From them,
exactly.
Right?
And I was really grateful for my unit to support me. So, and I got Eric and all them, Sam at the time and Matthew, just to help and talk.
Yeah, of course.
So
for them to liaise between, it's very difficult as well.
Yeah, it's difficult, so
they don't have to help us for any reason, but they do it because I guess they have an interest in Singapore football or national sports or whatever it is. Yeah.
So obviously, it was tiring. I can tell you, it's not an easy thing. Of course you can say this excuse to the performances we have, but honestly,
it genuinely is. I'm saying midweek games for Young Lions are
and that's why I tore my ACL during a midweek game. So, but honestly, it's the tiring thing, the most tiring thing ever. You hardly get any rest. like of course, like coming to training is the happiest part of my day.
Of course,
like it's
by far.
It's like such a, you know, for me, and I think for a lot of us, like playing football is that sense of like relief. You know, you really take out all your problems, playing a beautiful game and enjoying it
with your friends. You know,
exactly.
the simple stuff.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But at the same time, like having to cope with your NS commitments and then coming to training and then going back home to sleep for maybe 5, 6, 7 hours and then repeating
if
that.
You even get to go back home, right? Like exactly. Everyone is different,
and then sleeping in camp is another thing. You know, like having to do that daily, day in, day out, like for however long, for like maybe not 1 year, but for almost a year or so, it can really get to like tiring and like even like when you have off season, like you're still in camp. You know what I mean? You don't really have an off season. You're not enjoying a vacation,
really traveling, and like you said, in regards to travel, we don't get to use our leave to travel. Your leave is safe for
leave is safe for football.
Obviously, it's an honor to go to these tournaments, but it's year round, right? Like it's constant.
So obviously, it's a whole process, and like it's challenging. But I guess every Singaporean has to do it, and you know, you just have to get the most out of it as you can, and take everything one step at a time and see how it goes. But now obviously finishing that chapter of my life, I'm looking forward into this more professional environment that I can do, like sleeping at 12, waking up at 8, 9, getting that good rest, getting good breakfast, because obviously when you're in camp, you have to eat the camp food, and of course it's nutritionally very good for you or whatever, blah blah blah.
We have different nutritional needs, I would say. That's
but
how
like,
I would put
you know, I think the number one thing for me is also the food needs to taste pretty decent, at least, you know, for me to want to consume it. So now obviously now being
God
this
bless the canteens. God bless the canteens.
Shout out the canteens. A lot of money was wasted there. But now obviously, now being a full-time professional, I feel excited. You know, like now of course, but even before NS, I was still a student, so obviously my full attention wasn't on football. I was still studying as well.
Exactly.
So now being like a full-time footballer, I feel so professional. I feel like
How does it feel walking around with that title? now you're really like a professional footballer.
No, it feels good. It feels really, really good, and I'm ready to. I want to use whatever I have and whatever time I have wisely. You know, I plan my day so that I can make the most out of the day. Go to the gym in the morning. You know, take my afternoon naps, eat right, come to training early to do my activation and all this type of stuff. Like it's really good for me, and I think it can only get better. It can only make me a better player and make me
all those small things, right? The consistency that you can bring every single day. Because at least for me, since I already in my head, it was like now it's almost like you have I put a pressure on myself. I have to be one of the best players.
Exactly. Now you have everything for like now you have no, as bad as it sounds, now you have no excuse. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Like I can ensure that I have a good night's rest. I ensure that I've eaten whatever I want to or need to eat. You know, I get my afternoon nap, which is massive because we train in the evening, right? That's massive. It's like all these small things that add up. Like they all contribute to performance, and like we almost, because we are already ORD, like we're a little bit maybe older as well, whatever it is, like we have to set the standard, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like just for like young lions, I guess all of them are like either currently in, like not like majority of the team is currently serving NS or still students, you know, of course, and their lifestyle's a lot different. So you know, you can just give little advice to them on what they need to do and all that type of stuff.
It, right?
Yeah, exactly. So of course it's challenging, but you know, you have to do it. You have every Singapore guy has to do it, so you just need to get through it, and once you see that light at the end of the tunnel, once you're done, you can finally enjoy it. So now it's just
the countdown of the days.
The countdown. So now it's just about being that real professional, taking care of my body, and like really acting like a professional in a sense, which I'm.
You've always been, to be fair.
I'm just like thriving on it. I'm loving it, and I'm just loving being this professional. And
you feel like you can channel your energy into
exactly. I feel like now I'm using my energy at the right spot in a sense, and I can really, really focus on football. Which I
even as much as you hate to say it, but during NS, like you don't want to really focus on whatever it is you're doing, but you can't help but you have to put some energy into it.
No, of course, you have to.
The NS side comes first, as we're always reminded. Yeah,
you know, you have to do your obliged to do your duty first. So obviously it's a whole different process, but the chapter is done with for now. I mean, not for now, forever, I hope. But I'm really looking forward. Like it's been like because now, I mean, since January, it's been like 2 months of being real professional, and I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. Like it's a whole new feeling, and I feel it's good for my knee as well, like, and all that type of stuff.
All
like
the recovery,
like just acting like a professional. I have so much time to myself, and I love time alone, you know, sometimes just to reflect, because I think like for me, I love to reflect, like on, like, not even like on matches, but just on trainings, what I'm doing, and
just
what I'm
watching back training, thinking about how it went.
Exactly. I just hold myself to a really high standard, and I want to make sure that I go in day out to training, and I'm using the time well and becoming a better player. So yeah.
All right, we talk about all the free time. Let's talk a little bit about the off the pitch stuff. Like, how, I won't say important is that to you, but in the current landscape of media and things like that, we've discussed this as well a little bit before, but what do you think about having an image? Because, to be fair, Jacob Mahler is synonymous with Young Lions at this stage. You know, people know who you are, you're the Young Lions captain, etc. There's all these different titles that are associated with you. What's it like for you managing that? You know, now that especially you're a full-time like professional, right? Like, it's that's you day in, day out. There's no /student /NSF, you know?
No, of course, I feel like being me, you know, of course, you can say, I have a few followers, blah, 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 and a few kids look up to you or whatever. I mean, I still don't think I'm this person, obviously, but of course you come across people who say it and take photos of you and all that, and I try myself to portray myself as best as you can, best as I can on the internet, as on social media. You know, of course, you have your outside life, which, you know, my personal life, which I keep quite private, you know, whatever. So, but now, of course, I know people look up to me, and like, there's not even like only on the field, like off the field, of course, they see what I do and all this type of stuff. I have to maintain a good image, you know. I don't want to seem as this bad boy or whatever image, you know. Like I feel like I am, because of how my mother has raised me as well.
Course,
you know,
you're just being yourself.
Yeah, you know, like I try my best to be as professional as possible whenever it is. Of course, I have my fun here and there, you know, which I think everyone is entitled to.
Especially in the industry of football, right? It's so fast paced. It's
exactly. It's nice to take a break sometime and hang out with your friends and all this type of stuff, you know. Hang out with the boys, you know.
And then you're 23.
Yeah, you know, I'm still young. I still have a lot to live, you know. Like hopefully, you know, touch wood. But you know, like I try to, of course, like, I love meeting kids, and like, you know, and I think the other day in the community shield, a lot came up to me and like took a photo and all that. And one of the kids came up to me. I was like, I hope to be like you one day. And it's so nice to hear, you know. It's so like
it's a bit surreal, right?
Yeah. You know, I'm just this random half Danish, half Chinese little boy, you know, and I managed to influence people, and it's a really nice feeling, and I hope I can continue to inspire the next generation. Of course, we know Singapore football is where it is now, you know, and I think maybe not only me, but I think a lot of people, you know, as a collective want to bring Singapore football where it deserves to be, you know, like,
for all the love of the sport.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, like,
pushing it.
At the end of the day, like I always say to you, I think we need more people who want to help bring Singapore football up.
For sure.
We need people to want to bring out the best of Singaporean footballers and everything. And
because there's no excuse in the sense that we can say we're a small country, but there are plenty. Croatia, perfect example,
Iceland as well, and all that type of stuff.
There's so many different excuses that people throw out there. But
I think we have talent. We have whatever it takes. We have facilities and all that type of stuff. We have funding, so it also depends on the players and the people around and everything. The culture, you know,
mindset,
exactly. The mindset where we should never settle for being comfortable. You know, so we should always
just accept that.
Yeah, we should always want to be the best version of ourselves. We want to be the best player in Singapore. I think everyone needs to have that goal. So I try my best, to portray that to other people, and of course I know people look at me, of course, when I go out, you know, so I try my best to portray the best, you know.
The amount of times I've gone out with you and you hear, oh, Jacob Mahler, Young Lions captain, or you just have eyes looking at you like.
No, of course.
On that side, how does it feel sometimes? Is it?
No, I mean it's weird. It's really weird, because I still don't think, like I said, I don't think of myself as some famous person or whatever. I think I'm honestly the most ordinary guy. Like I'm so down to earth. I mean, I hope I am, and I portray myself as that to other people. But I'm so down to earth, and like I just Like I just think I'm this normal guy trying to live my dream playing football.
Of course.
You know, so of course going out there and getting recognized or whatever it may be, like it is a surreal feeling, and you know it is nice. But
I'm sure your parents keep you grounded as well.
yeah. I mean, there's times where I went out and like my mom is just like, I'm out with my mom and dad, and like someone comes up to me and like I was like, you're not even that like good. You're not even that good. You're not even that handsome. You know what I mean? Like
you're not that guy.
You're not that guy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like so nice. It is nice. It is a nice feeling, and I love talking to fans or whatever, like people in general. Just I love taking photos or whatever. You know.
I think you're not above them, right?
You'll
never just brush them
definitely
off.
No, I would never like no matter the situation. Of course, there are days where we're up and down or like we're a bit down, but still at the end of the day, I would like always take to stop to talk to someone or whatever.
I've seen you take photos with people regardless of the circumstances, don't worry.
So of course I love it, and I love everyone that supports me, you know, not only my family, my friends, the close people around me. I really appreciate like everyone who takes the time to be so invested in my career and wants the best for me, and all I can say is I'm really grateful for everyone, you know, out there, and I just hope to make everyone proud as well, not only my family at the end of the day, but like
Singapore football
community. I would love to bring glory to Singapore football, whatever that is. You know, like to bring that so-called back to glory days, like before winning the cups and all that type of stuff. You know, like I would love to do that, and hopefully the near future, you know, we can, and I'll, you know, promise everyone that I'll work my hardest, and you know, like I'll strive for excellence, and I can do whatever I can for the country. You know, so yeah.
True patriot, captain, leader, legend. That's the vibe. That's the Jacob Mahler vibe.
Yeah. I mean, all my close friends as well are like, you know, all footballers as well. I think I try to surround myself with
like-minded individuals.
Yeah, you know,
right?
so like with Iksan and all that. I think yourself and Raihan and all that. You know, I think we all really want to take a step up for Singapore football. Not that like it's bad or whatever, but like we know we can do better, and we want to do better, and you know, like I think we're all striving for that. So yeah, it's an exciting couple of years. I think, you know, all of us are now slowly growing up, you know, getting
Tell me about when I first joined Young Lions. I was 19. I was considered a young player. Now like I'm like, wait, I'm 21. I'm considered old.
Yeah, we're all getting old. So it's time to take that step up and become, you know, important members of the team, and slowly integrate into the national team, and hopefully we can impact the team like how the seniors have been. You know, like I've been fortunate to grow up around with the likes of Safwan, Bahaki and all that, and like even Irfan and all that, like
stalwarts, you know, like
exactly.
They've been big players.
You've seen them, like, and I had the opportunity when I was 18 to see them in the changing room and how they are, and it was surreal. You know, you watch these guys playing in Lions 12. I think at the time for me, like I was one of the kids that walked out by. You know, in the tunnel. Yeah.
That's a crazy.
So that was like two. I think I walked out one with Agu Kasmir and one with Bai. So like now to think that now I've played with these legends and all that is really surreal, and you know, I hope to continue upholding whatever they have built, and to even make it, you know, better or whatever. So yeah.
Well, I mean, just touching on that, like I remember one of my first few weeks at Young Lions, it was like Zol and Iswan were training with us. And I always remember like 2012, I was watching these guys
exactly.
in the AFF final, right? And now I'm scoring penalties against Iswan after trading, and I'm just like, surreal. Or even the other day when I met Safwan, like, I was like, FIFA 14. This guy was playing for Melbourne City. I was like gassing up to my friends. I was like, this guy is Singaporean. He's the first Singaporean on FIFA. Like,
I mean, to be even now considered as friends to these people or like people that you know of, like it's amazing. And I think they have also given me so much advice, and they have helped me so much in my career as well. And yeah, you know, it's just now time for me to take that step up, and hopefully I can, and I will be able to do in the next upcoming years. So I'm looking forward to it, of course.
A lot of pressure on your shoulders, you could say.
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean,
good pressure.
Good pressure, always. Life is never good without any pressure. You know, you can never be too comfortable. You know, you have to feel you are in a situation where you want to do well. So I'm thriving on it, and hopefully in the next couple of years I can show myself, and only good things, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, on that note, it's a perfect way to end it.
Perfect way to end it. Appreciate it.
All the best. I mean, we'll be playing together for the next who knows how long. So
we'll see.
We'll hopefully do well this year, and now it's an exciting year for for Young Lions, for you personally as
Yeah,
well. A lot
I'm
of things to
excited.
achieve.
Yeah, so only good things hopefully, and of course there'll be ups and downs, but I think we'll push through, and looking forward to this year and seeing how things go, and the first game this week, and raring to go, and
perfect. Hopefully
excited.
This might be out after the game. I'm not too sure yet, but everyone do check out Jacob. Do check out Young Lions as well this year. Hopefully we'll have a much better year, and with Jacob back, he'll be back in the senior national team, and he'll be achieving all his goals, and
hopefully
proving the haters wrong.
Fingers crossed, always.
Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Had a time of my life here.
All right, thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Stay tuned for the next episode.
Ciao.